just bought over $18,000 worth of Tesla stock here today, all right? And there are going to be a ton of questions with this one. I'm going to answer all of those after. We'll get into all those questions that you guys have. First off, let's just look here. So basically, I created a separate account that's away from all my other accounts that is just going to be called the Tesla account, okay? This account just has Tesla shares in it. So I basically bought for over $18,000 worth, 58 shares in total, and the cost basis on that one's $321.98 here on the Tesla. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what we're at as far as cost basis and whatnot. Over $18,000 worth. So what I want to do here is I want to fully go through this because I could imagine there's going to be a lot of questions around this one with me with Tesla and whatnot. So let's just get into this, guys. Why Tesla? No profits. Why so little money in it? How long will I be willing to hold for? Why not buy in chunks? Usually I buy in $2,000 to $5,000 chunks. Like why just $18,000 plus all in one day? Will you add more shares? And the last one is what's my risk versus reward? Like what's my potential upside in the stock? What's my potential downside? So we'll get into all that. First off, why Tesla? This is probably the simplest. I believe they're disrupting two industries. I've always believed they're completely disrupting the auto industry. The internal combustion engine, obviously moving to electric vehicles. And then not just on top of that, but then you talk about autonomous driving. There's a massive change going on in the auto sector that is going to play out over the next 5 to 10 years. And they're in the forefront of that, all right? But also, I believe this is a company completely disrupting the energy industry. It's just going to take a little longer for that one to play out. That's more of like a 7 to 12 year play rather than the autos is like over the next 5 to 10 years, we'll see a mass adoption of Tesla EVs, probably millions of units per year they're going to start producing, all right? So it's pretty simple why I would buy Tesla like this. Obviously they're completely disrupting some industries, all right? No profits. You guys know I don't buy companies that don't make profits, okay? So here's my view on things. Everyone can own a spec stock in their portfolio, okay? My spec stock is going to be Tesla. I do not own a spec stock as of right now. I want to own a spec stock. Spec stocks can be fun in the sense of it gives you some type of way you can make a lot of money. It kind of keeps things interesting, okay? Because a lot of times we can be in very boring companies, all right? A lot of value companies, you guys know I'm more of a value investor than growth investor. So a lot of the companies I'm in are pretty boring companies at the end of the day. They're expanding their businesses maybe 5-10% or so a year, but they're just kind of boring businesses at the end of the day. A spec stock gives you the upside of, wow, this could be a massive company someday, but it also gives you more risk, all right? So the reason I bought it in a spec stock, anything goes. If you're going to buy a spec stock, anything goes with a spec stock, okay? Doesn't really matter about balance sheet. Doesn't really matter about, the PE ratio or no PE ratio. A spec stock is a spec stock. The issue I have is when people end up making spec stocks their biggest positions. That's crazy in my opinion. If you're going out there and you're buying some speculative company that has no profits coming in and you're making that your biggest position or even close to one of your biggest positions, in my opinion, that is crazy, okay? That's crazy in my personal opinion, all right? Why did I put so little money in it? It's only $18,000. The reason I put a small amount of money is because this is a spec stock, okay? So being a spec stock, and by the way, I would say it's better than most spec stocks out there in the sense of this one actually has tons of demand and has tens of billions of dollars of revenue and whatnot. So it's much less speculative than a lot of people's spec stocks, right? But in my opinion, I don't want to risk the farm with this company, okay? Do I believe they're going to do huge things in the future? Yes. Do I believe they're going to be massively profitable in the future? Yes. Do I believe they're going to be one of the 10 most important companies in the entire world 10 years from now? Yes. But at the same time, as of right now, this is a company that has historically taken massive losses. That would put it into a speculative category. So which means I don't want to risk a lot of money, okay? Which is why I only put a little over $18,000 in the stock. I don't want to risk the farm on this one, even though it does have a huge upside. At the same time, what if this company goes bankrupt or something like that? Like, what if they can't get to a place where they're profitable? All those are possibilities that you got to take into account when you're investing. So, which is why I only stuck that amount of money in it. Okay. Also, how long am I planning to hold this stock? I would say at least 5 to 10 years. I do not see myself, regardless how much it goes up, down, anything. This is a stock I plan on holding for a long, long period of time. All right. When you buy a spec stock like this that has massive upside potential, you got to be willing to go through the downs and ups. So if this stock was to go to $200, if this stock was to go to, $1,000, it doesn't matter. I'm not selling this stock regardless, okay? This is a long-term hold for me. Most stocks, when I get into them, I'm kind of thinking like 2 to 5 years out. This one, since it's a spec play, I'm thinking like 5 plus 10 years out. Like maybe I'll take this one to the grave with me. Like, who knows? This is just a super long-term hold, okay? It's no different than if you were buying Apple stock in the late 90s, okay? Apple was kind of on the comeback, and it was looking like maybe they could do some big things, but Apple had horrible financials at that time, and it was still a speculative investment. But some people just bought in, and they're like, we believe in the brand, we believe in the CEO of that company, we believe they're going to expand over time, we're going to take this to our graves. And I'm not saying I'm going to necessarily do that with this stock, but I'm just saying I'm going to hold this for a long period of time, probably longer than any stock I hold currently in my portfolio, so that's saying something. Number 5, why not buy in chunks? So usually I buy in $2,000 to $5,000 chunks when I usually add shares of a stock. I don't invest, 5 figures plus all in a stock in one day like we did here, okay? The reason I did it is just because this is a freak situation. It's a spec stock. I just want to buy in my position in this one. I don't care about doing anything else with this stock. I just want to buy in my position and hold it for the next 5 to 10 years. It's almost like one of those stocks they call you put in the filing cabinet type stock, okay? Where you buy it, you don't care about the stock price, where the stock price goes in the short term, you put it in the filing cabinet, you try not to look at it, and you close your eyes, and in 5 to 10 years, and we'll see where we're at with that stock. That's how I'm treating this one, so which is why I didn't buy in chunks. I just bought 18,000 all at once, and it is what it is, all right? Number 6, will you add more shares? No, I have no plans to add any more shares. I don't care if it goes down to $200. I don't care if it goes up to $500 and they got some huge new thing going on. I plan on adding no more new shares. So usually when I buy into a company, I buy a small chunk, okay? This is how I usually do it. I buy a small chunk in that company. I kind of hope it goes down because I would like to buy more for even cheaper prices. If it stays around the same or goes down a little bit, I'd probably buy more and more and more until I get a big position built, okay? With this stock, I do not plan on doing that. So regardless if it goes up, down, I don't care. Like, this is my position. I built my position in Tesla. I bought it today, and it's just holding for the next 5 to 10 years. There's no plans to add any more shares, regardless how much it goes down or up. And the last one we got to talk about here is what is my risk versus reward in this stock? As with all investments you ever do in life, you always got to think about, what is my risk going into this one? What is my potential, reward in this one over time? So my potential risk is obviously I could lose 100% of my money in this. I could lose all $18,000 plus in this stock, okay? They can go bankrupt. They never make a profit. No one will loan them money. It's pretty unrealistic, but it's always a possibility, okay? With any stock, pretty much, especially with a company that's losing money right now, okay? So I could lose all my money, $18,000 gone. Or what could end up happening on the flip side is that my bullish thesis can play out. And where I could see this company kind of going is kind of like a 10x, a 10 bagger as we call them in the stock market, which basically means you make 10 times on your money, okay? I think this company has that type of potential when I kind of look out over the next, decade, let's say. When I look out over the next decade, I think they're going to have massive market share, not only in North America, but around most of the world for electric vehicles. I think they're going to completely change the electric system throughout the world, especially over time. They're just doing so many big things. And then if this is the type of company, if they do those 2 huge things successfully, they're going to do some more things successfully over time. This isn't a company that's just like, oh, we're only going to do electric vehicles and we're only going to do energy. They're going to do other big things. They're going to disrupt more industries in the future. This is what those type of companies do. Those type of companies that are this disruptive, they find the next thing and the next thing. No different than Amazon. Amazon used to be thought of only as a retail business, and now they're thought of, as Amazon Web Services, and that's kind of where a lot of the hype actually is around Amazon stock now, is that the potential for Amazon Web Services to be a bigger business than actually the retail business, okay? So that's kind of where I think about this stock. It's a visionary leader there at Elon Musk. Does he say some crazy crap sometimes? Yes, absolutely, okay? But just because you say crazy crap doesn't mean you can't be successful. It doesn't mean you can't accomplish big things. The most controversial person probably in the world is the President of the United States right now, who's the most important person in the entire world. So think about that for a second. Does Elon Musk say some crazy stuff? Yes, but if you can become President of the United States and say some crazy stuff, you can probably be CEO of a company and say some crazy stuff from time to time. But the guy's a visionary, genius as far as, look at what he's doing with SpaceX. Look what he's doing with Tesla. Like, the proof is in the pudding with the guy. He's, I think he'll definitely be remembered as a legend in the game. We'll just have to see how it all plays out. I think even if he, I think even as of now, people would look up to him as a legend with what he's accomplished already in his life. If you look at his track record and what he's done with the companies, and what he's he's been able to accomplish. So that's my bullish thesis on Tesla. We'll see how it plays out over the next 5 to 10 years. I'm not selling this stock. Like I said, it goes down, I'm not buying more, I'm not selling off. If it goes up a bunch, I'm not selling off either. It's just what it is, guys. So let me know if there are any questions that went unanswered. I think I hopefully got most of the questions answered here. I would love to hear from you guys as always. Make sure you follow me on Instagram if you're not already, posting more and more content on Instagram. Take it up to whole new levels. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.